But then the opponents of Islam will slight this important consideration and present it as a destructive religion which has no respect whatsoever for the human being. The next point is exploitation of the follower by the leaders. The case of Muridiyah is very important in this regard when they say that the Marabout exploits the disciple. But here again, just remember that the great money scandals related to religious dealings are not to be found within Islamic circles. There are, though, a few exceptions resulting from the cupidity of man. I was reading an interesting writing on Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba by a French lady who, in a chapter on exploitation, was saying very simply that in reality the people who have been accused of exploiting are being exploited, that is the Marabout themselves. They take care of so many people in their houses, in their villages and cities and places, wherever they go, and whatever the amount of money or welfare or thing they have, everything is redistributed to the community. So when you talk about exploitation, maybe you should look somewhere else. There is another important point in the attacks against Islam today. It is usually, well, they are usually based around what I can call a generalization of guilt. If a member of another faith commits a crime, it is his crime. If it is a Muslim, it is Islam that is guilty. That is called double standards. It leads to a psychotic approach based on fear and manipulation. Now, given lucid calculation and a strategist who approach Islam and try to explain it to the people, we come to the conclusion that some of them have political minds. There is a competition between East and West, which leads to a fight for hegemony. And they will not step back when it comes to the defense of their interest. There is also what we can call an economic rivalry and competition. Western materialism wants to have all and alone. No idea of sharing, no idea of helping anyone. We have also racial reasons. Most Muslims are Arabs, black people, Asians, not white Europeans. And this is valid for America. In that case, we can come to a situation where we have superficially the impression, but this goes much deeper, that it is a conflict based on color and geographical origin. Cultural reasons too. Mainstream Western culture sees Islam as a threat, a culprit that must be circumscribed in space. All these views have one common denominator. They present Islam as the equivalent of violence and terrorism. But if we look carefully, we have another reality, and that reality is the reality of Islam, the way it should be interpreted, understood, and practiced. Among God's names, God's known names, we have Salam, which means peace. But before Salam, we have Rahman, the gracious, and Rahim, the merciful. Our God has many names. Our God is Ghafar, the one who absolves, who forgives. He is Adl, the just. He is the loving one called the Wadud, and he is also the truth, Haqq. He is the one who supports you and helps you and sustains you. His name is Wakil. He is also the protector known as Wali, and Jami, who assembles and puts together. He is the one who's always present when you need him, and that's why one of his names is Bahi. He's always here, and he never sleeps. This is not a God of war, not a God of violence, not a careless dictator who walks around sowing the seeds of destruction and provoking tears. Our God is Malikul Mulk, and he is Al-Afu, who forgives too. He is a God of peace, and I come back to his first name. He recommends fraternity and cooperation among Muslims first and between human beings by and large. He's not a segregationist. We have internal strife and wars and terrorism which stem from a misunderstanding of salam. We are not talking about resistance to aggression and injustice, which is not only acceptable but even encouraged. A good understanding of salam sends us back to righteousness because Islam is for universal peace and harmony. A Frenchman by the name of DJ Hamono, writing on this issue, quotes Maida, "All ye who believe, stand out firmly for God as witnesses to fair dealings, and let not the hatred of others to you make you swerve to wrong and depart from justice." Our God's name, again, is Salam. This is peace based on faith. The Muslim is not for a negative peace. Very often when you talk about peace, and that was one of the criticisms addressed to Martin Luther King many years ago, when he was preaching nonviolent resistance. And some people thought that he was for passivity, that he was for non-resistance, etc. But that would be called a negative peace if it means only letting things go the way they are and accepting violence without any reaction. Here, passivity is condemned by Islam, which is not a religion of resignation and despair. We have community with the idea of solidarity and cooperation. This is the structure of Al-Jami, the gatherer, where hands give and receive. When our own Ahmadu Bamba declared that the hand that gives is better than the hand that receives, that is probably what he was suggesting. You must help your neighbor and always have present in your mind a good sense of community and solidarity. In our Wolof tradition, when somebody is stingy, somebody is a miser, a person who does not give anything away, we say in Wolof that ki loxo bi dafa kët. The man has lost his hand, or the hand has been cut off. This is an interesting analogy, because when we say that somebody has lost his hand simply because he has no sense of solidarity, no sense of giving, we are not criticizing him, we are feeling sorry for him. And this is a psychological and mental and philosophical sense shared by the whole community. It is not critical, it is an expression of sympathy.